back, guys, to another edition of Bamcomixs. I'm your host, OC, and this time we're getting into this new episode of Wandavision. It was a game changer, guys. So for those of you who are just new to the channel, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and make sure to hit that like check blue, guys. Hit those notifications to make sure you're up to date with our news, reviews, game reviews, movie reviews, and TV show reviews, everything regarding comics and the comic kingdom. Let's just jump into this latest episode of Wandavision. It's the 80s and the babies are here. They're growing. Wanda's twins. Agnes comes out and there's another glitch in the Matrix, guys. It looks like the dome has its glitches, and this episode was just incredible. The head of S.W.O.R.D., Tyler Hayward, in the debrief tells about the backstory of Wanda and how she was raised in Sokovia, the death of her parents, and even some crazy footage of Wanda stealing Vision's body. This blew my mind. I was like, so it looks like what they're doing in the shows, they're setting up Wanda to be the big bad villain. But taking care of living things is a big responsibility. And it looks like everyone in the dome is under the influence of Wanda's vision for a perfect world in her little dome home. Wanda's tired of hiding. She's not gonna hide anymore. Kid's got a dog. Guess what? Everything is moving at a super fast pace in this episode, guys. So we saw the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and it looks like right now we're in the 80s. The show opens up and it is unsettling, to say the least, because beneath the surface of this calm exterior, there's something brewing. There's something sinister lurking just beneath the surface. So the Hex, which is what they're calling this dome now, the Hex, and inside of the Hex is a big anomaly. Now, the population of Westview is under control from, of course, Wanda's mind control. And Wanda is like, the writers of the show really make sure to make you know how powered she is with the Mind Stone. Teaming up again with, of course, S.W.O.R.D., you see that they're looking like they're going, the members of S.W.O.R.D. are looking like they want to go inside of this Hex anomaly to try to figure out what's going on, or try to at least shut down Wanda. But I don't think it's gonna happen, as Wanda is literally rewriting reality at this time. So it's just like, guys, you know, we already saw the setup of this show already, and right now we're in the middle of this show. We're in the second stage, where the big conflict that's brewing is that this is all Wanda's doing. So the fact that they were S.W.O.R.D. was actually trying to get this under control, they don't have it under control. Vision is also waking up to the reality that something is not right, because of course Vision works at CompuServe, which is where he works in his little computer job, and his buddy Norm is actually like seeing in the computer a message, which is S.W.O.R.D. sending a message into the dome. Right? They're sending a email message into the dome, and as soon as they get it, there's Vision and of course his co-worker Norm look at the computer, and they're seeing, wow, okay, this is just an email, but this email is really a hidden code message that's alerting the citizens of Westview to the fact that there's a strong radiation energy on the perimeter of the dome, and they don't know how it's affecting the citizens of the dome. And at that point, Vision realizes that, you know, Wanda is manipulating all of these things as he goes into Norm's mind with his powers, and actually is like, wow, okay, something is not right here. It looks like all of the citizens of Westview are under the control of Wanda, which is crazy. It's like, you know what? This is an Avenger turned bad. She stole Vision's body. So after the snap, we know that Sword took charge of Vision's body. This episode is full of cool revelations as to many of the questions that I have surrounding it, and this episode actually cleared up a lot of those questions, even with the fact that Wanda is lying to everybody. So how do they penetrate the dome? Well, the director of Sword, which is Tyler Hayward, sends in a drone into the dome, and the drone is piloted the drone is piloted by Monica Rambeau, and she tries to communicate with Wanda. Of course, Monica Rambeau, in the last episodes, we know that she was inside of this Wanda's vision world, and she actually managed to escape it, not because she wanted to, but because she was blasted out of the dome, and hence the realization and the experiences that she's had inside the dome make her believe that Wanda's not really bad. But at the same time, Wanda's controlling this mass community against their will. So it's very sinister, it's very evil, and we don't know at this time if Wanda is actually doing this consciously or if somebody is controlling Wanda. But we know this, Wanda knows a lot about what she's doing, because when they send in the drone, Tyler Hayward, the director of Sword, tells his lackeys to take the shot. The drone is not armed, but apparently it is, and he makes a big mistake. Now, knowing her power levels, he should have just said, no, don't take the shot. But there's always an idiot like this in every TV show or movie that thinks he knows everything, so he says take the shot, not knowing that her powers are at like peak now. I mean, we saw her in Age of Ultron, we saw her in Infinity War, in Endgame, and right now in WandaVision, her powers are so big that she can take a normal pair of clothes and turn them into Kevlar. As we saw when Rambeau showed that the clothes that she was wearing inside the dome, when they're taken outside of the dome, they change, their properties are not the same. So she's actively changing reality. And as was stated by the scientist who we saw in Thor, this is peak level powers. So what is the result of the drone that Tyler Hayward sent into the dome to attack Wanda at the time? Well, to take out the target, completely failed. Because as soon as that happened, Wanda comes out of the dome and she's like, are you looking for this? Tosses the drone out to all of the Sword members who are there with their guns out and their lasers pointed at Wanda. But they forgot one thing. They're dealing with the Scarlet Witch. Now, is she named the Scarlet Witch? No, not yet. Of course, she doesn't have this fancy nickname yet. But I believe that by the end of the show, they will be referring to her by the name that she's been given in the comics, which is the Scarlet Witch. And of course, they are under her control, as when she comes out of the dome and she tosses the drone out, she's very upset. And she claims that this is her home. And then she turns the weapons of war that are pointed at her and points it to them. There's no way that they can possibly control this power. The only people giving probably her an even fight being Doctor Strange or Vision, because Wanda is super powered. What a mistake by the director of Sword to try to order the shot. After we see this really tense exchange, we see a commercial for Lagos, and the fact that this director of Sword claims that she's a terrorist because of what happened during the events of course, the Civil War with Lagos and the accident bomb that exploded in the hospital. That kind of was Wanda's fault, but it was an accident as Wanda tried to move the bomb away from Captain America. Cap should have clocked that bomb to his chest. He didn't, and that's why there was that huge accident in the hospital. And then again in Germany, when there was the fight, of course, because of the Sokovia Accords, But Wanda knowingly violated those accords when, after the events of the Infinity War, she claims Vision's body at the Sword base, and they have footage of that. All of this stuff is coming out of Wanda's consciousness and into the signal, which is being projected out as, of course, the TV show, Wandavision. Now, Agnes is the neighbor that's been popping up in many of these episodes, and Agnes is very fishy. I don't know about Agnes because Agnes might be a possible villain under the guise of what some people on the internet are saying, that probably she has the connection to Mephisto or one of these Marvel villains that's secretly controlling Wanda after the snap. So what's interesting is that this new phase of Marvel is dealing with everything that's happening after the snap. Toward the end of the episode, we see that Agnes brings out the family dog. The kids are like growing at a rapid pace and they're aging up. There's a lot of conflict between what Wanda is doing and what she tells her children, that she can't bring back the family dog that died. Wanda's telling the kids that dead is dead and she cannot bring back the dead. Which is crazy because she brought Vision back after the events of course, toward the end of the episode of the dog. Vision tells Wanda, "You can't control me. I know the truth. I know what's happening. Norm has a family and Norm can't get to his family because you're inside his head. It's invasion of privacy. It's a very manipulative, evil scheme that you're doing with the residents of Westview and how you're controlling them in your scheme." And it looks like Wanda, even though she knows this, she doesn't care because she's determined to get what she wants. So it looks like Marvel is setting up Wanda to be the villain. And of course, in the introduction to Wanda, when we first see her in Age of Ultron, she starts off as bad, then turns to good, and now in this series it looks like she's bad again, and it looks like she's the main villain. Now, of course, this means that this is going to be a force to be reckoned with, because, you know, who's going to give her the challenge? Who's going to possibly fight her and defeat Wanda? As I said, it could be Doctor Strange, even though it's highly unlikely that Doctor Strange makes an appearance in this show, or is that Vision will be the one to confront Wanda. And in this episode, at the end, there is a confrontation between the two when he finds out the truth and he lets her know that there's no way that she can keep doing this. And Wanda's like, "Well, you never talked to me like this before. You never raised your voice to me." And he actually admits that he doesn't even know before what. He doesn't even remember any of his life before coming to this place. He doesn't even know why he's there, and he's like, you can't keep me here. You know, you can't control this reality. You know, with me here going against my will, I have no free will. And he really gets in his emotions and he really starts screaming at Wanda. It was a very tense scene. I thought the two of them were going to exchange energy blasts and fight right there, because it looks like they were about to fight. Well, things settle down for a minute when Wanda also admits, like, you think I'm crazy? You think that I am responsible for every single factor inside of Westview, every single every single action that's being taken in Westview by the citizens? You think I'm controlling all of that? So Vision, they calm down for a little bit, and it looks like Wanda is like, I feel like she's like manipulating, but at the same time doesn't know 100% everything, because at the beginning of the episode, you see when Agnes comes in, that Agnes even tells Wanda, "Do you want me to take it from the top again?" Because there's a little glitch, there's a little interruption in the TV show when it looks like one of the actors, like, it's an actor that breaks character. So Agnes, to me, is like the actor that breaks character and is showing that there's something more sinister happening behind the scenes. So Wanda admits that she doesn't know, and even when the doorbell is ringing, she's like, "Well, I didn't do that." Now, this part, of course, this episode being 41 minutes not completely 41 minutes, but the longest in all of the episodes, offers such a satisfying payout, such a satisfying conclusion, such a satisfying way to end it when, of course, when the doorbell rings. Such a satisfying conclusion when the doorbell rings and she doesn't know who it is, and she opens the door and everyone, including the audience, including the people watching in Sword, are 100% shocked when they see who this person is that's knocking at the door. We see in the audience from the back of his head that this is Pietro, Quicksilver from Age of Ultron, and I'm like, wow, okay, so this is the surprise guest. Now, I was surprised at that, but that's not really what surprised me 100%. What surprised me and just took me out of this whole experience to the next level of saying, you know, this episode is a game changer, is when we don't see the actor that appeared in the Age of Ultron, but we see the actor who played Quicksilver, who appeared in Days of Future Past, which is 20th Century Fox at the door. 20th Century Fox and the X-Men franchise at the door in Wandavision. This opens the door to a whole world of possibilities. This is insane. When I saw that and he opened the door, you see him, you see the Quicksilver from Days of Future Past, who is the son of Magneto. You're saying, I'm like, oh my god, this was kind of like almost a Luke Skywalker moment for me when I was totally shocked. I was like, okay, it's Pietro. All right, great. I'm expecting to see the Age of Ultron, the actor from Age of Ultron. I'm like, wow, all right, that's cool. But when they showed who it was, when they showed it was the kid from Days of Future Past, from X-Men, from the 20th Century Fox franchise of X-Men, I totally lost it, guys. It was like a watershed moment in the moment of Marvel in the MCU that says, we're bringing mutants. Now, I don't know 100% if this is what they're going to be doing, if this is how they're introducing mutants into the Marvel Universe. Because when Darcy sees Pietro, she's like, oh wow, Wanda recast Pietro? Because I'm sure everybody there knows Pietro, how he looks, and that this Pietro is a different version. But this, you know, after the snap, this could have been a whole wide range of different changes being made to the world. And how does this link with 20th Century Fox? Does this link with with Days of Future Past, how reality was manipulated and now the whole timeline is just different? But I really hope that this is Marvel's way of telling us mutants are coming into the MCU. Now, come on guys, Quicksilver, they could have just gotten, you know, the Pietro from Age of Ultron. They got the one from Days of Future Past. And we saw him, of course, in the Phoenix. And we saw him, of course, in X-Men Apocalypse. He knows Professor X. He knows all of the X-Men. You know, this has to be the introduction of mutants in the MCU. This has to be like the 20th Century Fox crew coming into the world of the MCU. And this bridge, and I really hope, I'm speculating, I'm so excited. To me, it was like such a satisfying episode. It was, to me, the best episode so far of all of the episodes. Episode number 5. Amazing episode. The way it ended, I'm just like on such a high talking about it, because I love the X-Men, and to bring over the mutants from 20th Century Fox into the MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's like such a huge thing. I've been waiting forever for this, and if they could bring this guy in, you know, who knows who they could bring. They could bring in Wolverine, they could bring in like Cyclops, they could bring in, of course they're gonna bring in Deadpool, but they could bring all of these actors back as a result of the blip that changed everything. They bring everything back from the blip. It's insane. I hope that this Quicksilver is not just like an actor, right, that she recast as Pietro. I hope there's something deeper. We don't even know where this Pietro came from. It probably won't go deeper. It probably will be that she recast somebody as Pietro. But man, it's such a nice bridge. It's such a nice tie to the Days of Future Past Quicksilver, which knows that this is my sister and my father is Magneto. Mutants 20th Century Fox. Guys, this is so big. This has to be the best. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. I could make like 100 videos on this subject alone of X-Men and the MCU. Thank you so much for watching. This has been your host OC, and if you like our videos, please hit subscribe. Please hit those notifications. We got a lot more coming at you in the coming weeks. A lot more surprises, a lot more fun, a lot more of everything related to comics, games, nostalgia, movies, and of course TV shows. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking us. Thank you for sticking with us at Bamcomixs. This has been OC, your host, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, hit that like, and tell us what you thought about this episode in the comments below. Hit that like, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.